Hi guys! As if it wasn't already hard enough to navigate the murky waters of shopping at Hermes, it seems to be that the rules are changing all the time. And the game seems to change from country to country, but also on a regular basis from year to year. And there does seem to be some word on the street that some of the things that a lot of people thought may or may not have been in place are definitely in place, and there's certainly some new things that will be starting to trickle into stores and the SA's mentality over time. So the word on the street is that if you are in love with a particular style of quota bag, such as a mini Kelly or a Birkin 25 in a Cellier style, you won't be able to put this on your wish list multiple times after you've received one already. So if you've received one as a quota bag, you most likely won't be allowed to get that in 6 months' time or in a year's time when your next quota bag becomes available to you. So it may be a good idea to try and expand your wish list and think about some of the other bags that you might enjoy. So if you're getting a Birkin 25 this time, perhaps you might think about getting a Kelly 25 or a Kelly 32 for your next wish list item. Now I find this pretty devastating because I am in love with the Kelly at the moment and the Kelly 25, and I would absolutely love to collect this in every different color if it was possible. Of course, it's a really, really long journey. Will I consider maybe getting larger Kellys or maybe a mini Kelly? Look, I'm one of those people that, look, I do love the aesthetic of a mini Kelly. I think it is gorgeous. But whether or not it is for me and whether or not it's going to stand the test of time, I'm not 100% sure. I do know that I do carry a lot of stuff, and I think a Kelly 25 is probably the minimum amount of size that I need to be able to carry the stuff that I need around on a regular basis. And I do find that on some people, I haven't tried one myself, but on some people it can just look like a little bit of a toy. It is absolutely stunning, don't get me wrong. If I was given the opportunity to get one, of course, yes, I would probably take it, to be absolutely honest. But I think that, is it my number one bag that I would dream of? Probably not. Kelly 25 for me is what I'd love at this stage. Now, for quite a while, there has been discussions and some confusion about what a quota bag essentially is. Now, we do know that the Birkins and the Kellys definitely fall into this category, but whether or not the Constance it does, it's been very murky. And it seems to be that in some countries it's been confirmed by SAs it is, and in other countries they seem to be offered regardless of pre-spend ratio. It will, of course, set you back from getting a Kelly or a Birkin because you'll be seen as being satiated by being given a bag that year, but whether or not it's actually classified as a quota bag and therefore uses up your quota for that year, most people have found it very hard to really have a good idea of whether that's the case or not. But it does seem like Hermes is pushing towards making a Constance a quota bag, and it does seem to be that they'll be also including all the different bags that have a Kelly based buckle on them. So this would be things like the Kelly Pochette, the Kelly Dance, the Kelly Elan. Whether or not it includes things like the Kelly Move and the Kelly Depeche is hard to say. I don't hear those coming up as often as the Pochette, the Dance and the Elan, but certainly they are becoming harder and harder to get, and they are starting to get that feel of being a quota bag. The Constance definitely is going to be in there, and that will be the mini Constance, the Constance 24, and the Constance Elan as well. If you get those and your store is doing a 2 quota bag a year, that's going to be classified as one of your quota bags. Hermes Corporate is taking over more of the stores in the world and trying to make sure that all of the stores do follow under the corporate banner. There are a few privately owned franchise stores out there, which has made it hard for Hermes to create a technological base that allows everyone, everywhere, all the SAs to be able to look into your purchase history and also to deliver out a more consistent experience for everyone, I think. But I do feel like they will continue to gather up more of the privately owned stores in order to try and make sure that you do go in a store and you get a consistent experience regardless of wherever you go. But certainly the quota bag thing does seem to be in place, whether you're going to a privately owned store or whether you're going to a corporate store, which most of the time that's where you will be heading to. There's not many private stores left. Now, some of the stores have been told, particularly in the US, that they will only be giving one quota bag per year. Now, as far as I know where I'm located, it does seem to be still 2 quota bags a year. I don't know this from speaking to my SA, and it's a topic that I would love to broach, but I haven't quite found the right time to ask him. But it does seem that based on other clients that go to my store, it does seem that they're still able to pick up 2 quota bags a year. I think 2 quota bags a year is really required. 1 quota bag a year makes it really, really tough for you to maintain that relationship with your SA, I think, because if you get your quota bag very early in the year, you're going to feel like you're not really invested as much in that relationship. Yes, you do love the products, but then you sort of might wait till the end of the year or the second half of the year to then start building up your relationship again. I do think that Hermes needs to think about continuing to allow for 2 quota bags a year if you do reach your pre-spend ratio, just to allow the customer to have some sort of hope to continue going and to make sure that they are given an opportunity to really put something that they love and have some sort of hope that it can be fulfilled. Now, a few of the things that Hermes has been trying to establish in a lot of their stores, and I think they will continue to really push for this, is allowing only 1 account per client. So I actually didn't know about this, but I did start reading about it on some forums where in a household there might be the wife that shops and she has her own account, and then the husband has another account, and then when each of them reach the pre-spend ratio, then they would be given the opportunity of getting quota bags for each account. So essentially in one household, if you got 2 quota bags per account, you could end up with 4 quota bags a year. So obviously they're still meeting their pre-spend ratio, but it was sort of an express way to be able to get more quota bags just by having those 2 accounts available to you. And Hermes is trying to narrow these down to just allow 1 account per family. But if you do have a household account, they're going to make it so that you can't get quota bags offered to you. So that's a pretty harsh rule to instate on these household accounts. I can understand why they're doing it, because then you could get your mum involved as well for that household account, and then your daughter and all sorts of things, and then it just starts becoming really complicated. So I think for 1 household, 1 address, I do agree that 1 account is probably fair for everyone. Now, if you do have a household account, they're saying they're going to limit it to in-store purchases only. So you can't shop remotely, make a call or a message to your SA, and then ask them to ship things out. It seems that Hermes, more and more, they're trying to really establish these personal relations. They do want it to be a relationship-based situation. They really do want that personal one-on-one chat and involvement with the customer and their SA. I do believe that this is because as the relationship flourishes, obviously you do fall in love with the brand and with that feeling of shopping with the store, and you're more likely to diversify your purchases and stay with the brand long term rather than just clicking online, ordering something every now and then. So I do appreciate what Hermes is trying to do. It is really hard though for some people that just don't have a store that's close to them that they can drive to. You might be 3, 4, 5 hours away from the next store, and trying to go in to make purchases regularly and to make sure that you're having that face-to-face contact with your SA can be really hard if you have to fly somewhere, if you have to make it an actual day trip to go in and see them. But I can understand that if this is the direction that Hermes is going, it's very admirable. I don't really know of any other fashion houses that would do that. I think it's a great way forward, especially in this day and age where we are making everything quite transactional and everything does seem to be online or over a message and that sort of thing. I think it is nice to have those personal interactions. So Hermes is really trying to push for this global quota system where wherever you go in the world, they'll be able to look up your account and they'll be able to see how many quota bags you've had, and they'll try and cap it at 2. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply for VIPs. VIPs and extremely high spenders, I think that their ability to get a quota bag is unlimited, and if they really asked for whatever they wanted, they could probably get it within a short period of time. I do find it really bizarre that with all the technological advances that we have at the moment, that they haven't been able to develop a system where they literally can just click on your name and put your phone number in or your address and then see what purchases you've made. I blame this on probably the fact that a lot of their stores, although a lot of their stores are corporate, that some of the stores are privately owned, and perhaps it's been really hard to extend that umbrella of technology over everyone. But I think it could be done. I think it's probably been put in the too hard box, and Hermes could probably have done it very easily. Of course, it works to the advantage of many customers at the moment. I guess many people don't want it to change, so that they can still have that chance to go to Paris, pick up a quota bag, and then maybe pick up another 2 quota bags in their store that year and get a lucky 3. Of course, it's extremely hard to pick up a bag in the lottery system, and particularly a bag that you may love. But for most of us folk, we would just be able to go to our store, do the pre-spend, wait it out, get our 1 or 2 quota bags a year, depending on whether our store offered 1 or 2. And then for the occasional very lucky people, you could fly overseas to a different country and try your luck over there. So they are trying to implement a global quota system where if you've had 2 Birkins or 2 Kellys or 2 quota bags of any type in, for example, the US, and then you flew over to Paris, they would be able to see that you'd already had a quota bag and they wouldn't offer you one there. So it would be a disadvantage to the customer, in those lucky customers that did manage to score a lottery appointment. Would it make it fairer for the other people? Perhaps it may, but I do know that for many that it's a very thrilling experience being able to go to Paris, get a lottery appointment, or a thrilling experience to go to another country, splash out on some really expensive Hermes purchases, and then be offered a quota bag. I'm up in the air about this. I guess it's never really affected me at this stage, so I'm going to stay neutral and on the fence about how I feel about that. Now, it is commonly known that special orders, which is where you can go in and have a look at the season's colours that are available, and you can custom design a bag. Now, most people, if they do custom design a bag, they're going to be doing a Birkin or a Kelly or a Constance. And commonly these were only offered to long-standing clients. It was a means of giving excitement and variety to customers that had been established for a long time and might want to try something different. So they might want to mix up 2 different colours, or mix up the stitching, or try something new that they had never tried before. But it does seem to be that SAs are being encouraged to offer it to new clients, which I find really fascinating. I do know that a lot of people that are offered special orders do go for a mini Kelly straight away, because it's just so hard to get one at this point in time. So they will custom order a mini Kelly. Some of these will use it as an opportunity to get something that they know that is hard to get, that they may not be able to get if they were just going to wait it out. And because of that, they don't go for something that's very different, but they will go for something rather plain. So they may just go for a gold on gold mini Kelly, which is something that you could get in the store, but they just don't know if they're ever going to be offered that. So that is quite exciting that it would be offered to new clients. And because my shopping journey has been on and off, I don't really know whether I classify as a new customer or an old customer. You know, I've had some on and off purchases in the past, but I've really ramped up my game recently. I was ramped up a long time ago for a while, then I took a long break and it's now ramped up again. Do I classify as a new customer or old customer? I can't really tell, but I guess no one's going to be saying no to a special order. So the fact that special order slots are going to be offered to a greater variety of customers, I think that works out good for me, and hopefully, who knows. So it seems to be that there's a few changes that aren't particular rules, but they're practical things that management is trying to push for to try and make it a more seamless operation running the stores. So the first thing is they are trying to push for appointments where you have an SA, you text what time you want to go in, and they'll set aside usually an hour, although I have been in there for longer than an hour before, but my SA I think has probably factored in what I'm purchasing and has left a little bit more time for me. You can still definitely go in and line up in the queue and wait your turn. I personally really prefer the appointment system. I think it's awesome to be able to say I'd like to come in at this time. I really like to go for appointments during quieter periods of the day, and that way it's more likely I'm just going to be able to walk in and my SA is going to be available. I am very lucky that I do have a very flexible work schedule, so I can aim for those quieter times, and I personally prefer not standing in the queue, so it works for me. And it allows me to also prepare my SA for the things that I might want to look at so that he can get them ready. So it also works to your advantage if you are looking at getting a bag or something that's really hard to find, or you're waiting for something on your wish list. So if your SA knows that you're coming in and you're heading towards the right amount of ratio with your pre-spend and you are waiting for a special bag to come in, if you do give them a little bit of notice, they can then look ahead and see if it will become available for you and hopefully surprise you on the day. Or if there's something that they can source from another store, they can get it in for you and you can see it on the day, and rather than having to come back and forth. So I think there's just many advantages to the appointment system. Obviously, if you don't have an SA available to you, or if you can't get in contact with your SA, walk-in appointments will always stand. So Hermes is trying to introduce reserve lists for everything to make it fair, so that if there is an out of stock item that you're really looking for, they'll put your name on a waiting list. If there is enough stock that comes through and your name comes up to the top, then they will offer it to you. You could, however, be waiting months, or perhaps you may never even get this item. I guess this works for things like leathers that are very hard and in demand. For example, if you wanted to get a small leather good in rose sakura, I know those are particularly hard to get, or certain jewelry items that are hard to get. This could certainly make it a little bit of an easier way to sort out who gets what first. This hasn't ever really become an issue for me, but I certainly agree that it does make it a lot fairer for everyone. I do feel that VIPs still skip the queue for a lot of these things, but certainly a better idea to make sure that customers do get what they request. I'd love to hear about your experiences with any of these points that I've made. I guess it's always great if you can share and give more clarity on your experience to help the rest of us out. Can't wait to chat to you soon. See ya.